Hello, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Babatunde Adebola. I'd like to welcome you to the second and concluding part of what has been a very informative session interviewing Kingsley Madu, who's the CEO of Expedier, a banking application that has been geared towards immigrants and particularly Blacks, entrepreneurs, and what have you. And this is basically on his ability to talk what was a personal challenge to a problem, to address it for the general group. So I'd like to welcome you again, Kingsley. You're welcome on board.
Thank you, sir.
And it's
Thank
great
you
to
so
have
much, sir,
you.
Mr. Manuel. It's a pleasure to be here
Good.
again. Thank you.
Thank you. So in the earlier part one, you talked about what led you to start the Expedier. And you even told us that it's not Expedier, like I just call it Expedier. Yeah, so that's understandable. But now, one of the things I imagine is that setting up a bank in Canada is not a child's play. I imagine that there are regulatory requirements in terms of funding, like in Nigeria. I know that the central bank had to requires the banks to have some lodgement in central bank for cases. So how have you been able to navigate that? Is it that your own bank has there are some things that have been waived for you, or what exactly? How are you able to do that?
Well, it's not a great stuff that you've asked me there, right? And a lot of people ask me this, and because in their mind they're like figuring, how do you do something like this? You must have had stashes of cash and millions of money sitting somewhere that you burn. But then I'll tell you this for free. And without meaning to sound overly spiritual, there is a scripture that says that when David was running from Saul, and that helpers came to him every day from all areas, and they were supporting him.
Yes.
And that has essentially been our story.
All right.
Helpers coming in and say, hey, I hear you're building this for real. I'm like, yes, like, please, how can I be a part of it?
I see.
Right? We've had people bring in funds from nowhere, say, you know what, just take this, go do what you need to do, right? We've had people, staff coming to say, you know what, this is so great. I want to be a part of it. I want to work for free. Don't pay me, right? I just want to be a part of this story. And that has essentially been our story all through and through. Like people just coming in from nowhere and saying, I heard about you. I love what you're doing. I would love to be a part of it.
That's wonderful. So it's not as though the processes were waived. You've just been able to acquire the resources you need through what you call unconventional means, and it's worked for you. Wow, that's fantastic.
Correct.
Wow, that's really amazing.
Correct.
Right. Wow. So earlier on you told us that you're not just into remittance, you actually cover the whole 9 yards, just using your words, in terms of banking services. And that's amazing. At what point did Google spot you? Because we also know there's an arrangement you have with Google. I don't know how much of that you want to share. But I mean, for Google because I know that Google has a number of services for entrepreneurs. I've benefited from that in the little work I do, but it looks like yours is a special skill, different thing that they're trying to do. And if you can share with us, what exactly it is you're doing and what is in the offing, because I imagine that it's an ongoing partnership.
Yes. So again, we're grateful. And as I said before, it's one of those instances where people will just spot you and say, hey, we heard what you're doing. We love it. We want to be a part of it, right? Because I tell you this for free. It's not easy to say that you're building something like this and you're an immigrant, right? And there is really some big brand names out there and they're watching you and like, what do you think you're trying to do? Right? And so we've been kind of like building in hushes and just trying to do our thing, right? But lately, Google has knocked on the doors and said, hey, we love what you're doing, right? We actually saw something online and then we applied, right? Not knowing whether it would draw their interest or not, right? Okay. And then luckily they returned back and said, well, congratulations, it's you that we love. We want to work with you, right? Wow. And so we signed up with them to say, you know what, let's do this. That arrangement gives us, the way I frame it, it gives us access to almost all of Google's available infrastructure and resources.
Wow,
Like
that's expensive.
Google is essentially saying to us, tell us what you want, tell us what you need, right? Of course, there are limits to what we can. I
Oh
mean, we can't go
yes.
say,
Oh
give me
yes. I
$1 billion,
understand. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but they've got resources, team, money, infrastructure, you name it, right? On ground to say we're gonna help you. In fact, they've got marketing that the kind of aggressive marketing that Google alone is trying to put together for Expedier, it's going to
Yeah.
make Expedier a household name in the next few weeks and days, right?
Wow.
And so we're grateful again, for Google to support us and working with us. One of the beautiful things that we are integrating soon, again, thanks to that arrangement, is Google Pay,
Okay.
right? GPay directly into our apps, right? And so users anywhere in the world can have access to that as well, right? So yeah,
Oh,
it's been interesting the last few months and weeks.
wow, that's really amazing, and I'm happy to hear that things are moving on for you. Interestingly, however, there's been a bit of recession in this market in Canada, starting from the pandemic, and it's continued. It's affected a number of markets, but it looks like you're on the upward trajectory, and that's very very nice to know. You said earlier on in part one, you mentioned briefly about mortgages. That's something you're going into or you've started. Can you educate us a little bit more about that? Because one of the things that a typical immigrant wants to do sooner than later is to position yourself to own a property.
Mhm.
Why? Because you suddenly come to realize that while it is okay to start with renting, you're pretty much just throwing money into the water. And you need to have that investment. Mortgage, I mean, rent houses are one way in which people actually grow their
Yep,
financial
I
strength.
agree.
Yeah.
So for us again, right, as I said, we're building out this banking solution that addresses the particular needs of immigrants. So let me just walk a little bit about it. So I'm happy to first announce that mortgage went live on the app this week. Hooray, congratulations.
Wow,
So users
that's
can
good.
jump on it and get on the app. And as
Okay.
I said, it's designed to fast track any immigrants to get their dream houses in as little as 3 months just by working with us, right? But the story is a lot more beyond that. As you know, many of us do not have credit history. And
Mm-hmm.
that is essentially a requirement to get in your house, right?
Okay.
And so, because of that, we default to renting houses. You
Yep.
have to rent, right? But there's a lot of problem with renting. The first is that the credit system does not recognize cash or the rent that you pay through cash.
That's
And
true.
so while you are paying that rent, you're essentially losing that money
Mm.
because the credit system will not recognize it. In other words, you won't build credit history. And at the same time, you are not building equity in that home,
Yep.
in that house that you're renting, right? So it's a complete loss for us immigrants, right? So what we've done is to partner with Equifax, and we are rolling that out very soon, right?
Okay.
To say for immigrants that for some reason they're not able to rent their houses, to buy their houses immediately, and they have
Yep.
to rent. While you rent, we will report that renter to Equifax on your behalf to help you build credit.
Oh, great. Okay. That sounds
That's
good.
number one.
Yep.
That's number one. Yes. So imagine paying rent $2,000 and above for 1 year and how that would impact your credit score.
Yep.
It is massive, right? And then after that 1 year, when you're now ready to buy that house, we'll tell you, hey, it's also on the app. Come, we've already prepared that for you, and you
All
get
right.
in straight into buying that, right? And so that is essentially what we've built out there. And I mean, I'm essentially asking everybody to give it a try and see,
Yep.
how it works. Yeah.
That sounds good because I know that a lot of people are looking for opportunities like that. But how do you then
Yeah.
guard against, I mean, imagine that you're in partnership with the federal with the government because Canada is a very regulated market, whereby if you if
Sure.
you if you have somebody making heavy withdrawals or deposits even, you're expected to report that to FinTrack or something. Those are things that
Mhm.
I believe you have covered, right? Because that's probably something you need to straddle. As much as you want to help people, you also want to ensure that you
Mhm.
follow all the rules so that you don't expose yourself. And I'm saying this because well-meaning people, even Nigerians, have gotten their fingers burnt. Also running banks, and also along the line, they probably didn't understand the exposure they were getting themselves to. And I know one or
Mhm.
two that have actually been paid very dearly.
Mhm. Oh, of course, the regulation does not bend for anybody. right? Regulation is the regulation. And one of the things that we pride ourselves in is it's being able to adhere, keep to that regulation, right? Again, in fact, many a times, even our own internal rules are a lot more stringent, right? A lot more stringent, right? And so regulation does not shit for anybody, right? And so we still need to abide and keep to the rules and regulations, right? Even as we help ourselves, get things done, right? The regulation doesn't really stop us from doing what we need to do. The regulation is only there to spot fraud, to help prevent fraud, right? To help deter fraud, right? And as long as you apply it properly, you will be deterring fraud and helping overall the economy, right? The regulation is not a blocker. It's actually an enhancer, right? To make it even a lot more streamlined and a whole lot more easier to get the work done, protecting everybody, essentially, right? For example, on a platform, before you can even do anything, beyond registration, right? Before you can do anything, you will have to go through series of checks. Right, background checks up front, right? You have to go through series of checks to validate that you are who you are, of course, right? And there are rules and regulations and AI learning that is being applied to everything you do on the platform. Of course, there are eyes watching, right? Let's put it that way. But yes, we have to do that.
That's fantastic. It's amazing. Stories like yours actually make me happy because recently, for viewers, we founded an organization called the Alliance of Nigerian Entrepreneurs. And what we do essentially is to provide a platform, support Nigerian immigrants to create wealth by leveraging various tools, various resources that will ensure that they grow their entrepreneurial competencies and leverage the economies of scale that comes with amassing people of similar heritage. And hearing your story is very important. Interestingly, I could also, as my dad was also said, that Kingsley is going to be one of our panelists at an event, a networking event that we're hosting on Remembrance Day, 11th of November, in the town of Milton in Halton region of Ontario. It's the Lions Club Hall. And if anybody watching this is interested, please be our guest, 9 a.m., where Kingsley will be sharing a lot more. And we have other fantastic people who have been able to defy the odds. Because your story that you've shared is not the run of the mill, but it's very exciting to know that is happening and that you're operating your business. So is Expedier? Sorry, I may keep trying, but just give me credit.
Don't bother. Don't bother.
Is Expedier Services limited to just the southern Ontario? What's the reach? What's the coverage today? And how far are you taking it?
We're national to start with.
Oh, right? Yeah, okay.
We're national across the borders, but beyond even Canadian markets, we are also live and operational in the US. So we are also helping our fellow people in the US. Yes.
Wow.
We're live and operational in the US, right? Okay. And in the next few weeks and months, hopefully before the end of the year, we'll be going live in Europe and UK as well, right? We're somewhat live, but still cleaning up some things before we finally declare it, right? And all of that, right? And so we'll be going live in the UK and Europe soon, right? And then after that, we'll be really across the entire Africa, right? Not just the Nigerian market, but West Africa, East Africa, South, North, all of it, right? Cleaning all that. Because the problem that we're solving is not just unique to us, right? To us, it's really everywhere, right? Yep. It's really everywhere. And so we want to be able we want people to know that with Expedier, you've got your money in your hands, wherever you are, right? You don't need to worry anymore about how do I move money? How do I have access? How do I pay for this? How do I buy that? All of that is resolved. Tax filing, credit building, mortgages, insurance even. Did I tell you that we are launching a tailored auto insurance for our folks? Wow. Right?
That's good.
Oh, yes. We're launching that as well. Again, it's the entire banking for us, right? Making it a whole lot easier for our people to bank easily and enjoy it while they're doing it.
It's amazing what you can do with technology, running all across, and the time of it, the short time to expand to all of these markets is really, really, really amazing. And I guess AI and stuff are some of the things you'll be using to expand your reach
For
in
sure.
short time. And I really can not but wish you success as you continue.
Thank you so much, Manuel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
So I guess we'll look forward to hearing more about Expedier in the years to come. This looks like as fantastic as the story is today. It's only scratching the surface, and it's amazing. You know, people like once the richest man in the world from South Africa. Name just skipped my mind now. Tesla was
Elon
Tesla's
Musk.
Elon
Elon
Musk.
Musk.
You know, he
Yeah.
actually transited from South Africa. He came here to Canada before going to the US. And I think it's all about believing in what you do and giving it all the shot. And, you know, only God knows how far you can reach in life. So we wish you the best.
Absolutely.
And I'm
Thank
happy
you so much,
to see your progress. And I imagine that in a short while from now, we'll have another interview to probably talk about many more successes that you've had along the way. So viewers, this is Kingsley's story, but as you can see, it's only work in progress. Everything is told you is coming out is just evolving. And it's for us, it's a very wonderful thing to have Nigerians who come in here and who are thriving. Unfortunately, we have a lot of bad publicity that we need to correct. But with people like Kingsley, we can change the narrative and actually demonstrate that Nigerians we're smart people, not just known for negative things, but we can actually do very positive things. And I'm sure that with Kingsley and Co. Blazing the trail, it's only the best to come. So thank you very much, Kingsley. Looking forward to seeing you in November when we have that program, and of course, wishing you success in your programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. Viewers, on this note, we'll call it a day, and please watch this and share with friends. This will be available on the Tundosco Media channel. Please watch it, share with people, and watch all the interviews that we've had. Thank you for now, and bye. Thanks.